What's up, blasters? Farm infernal hordes, slay bosses, and push pits with Rogue's strongest all-rounder build for Season 10, Death Trap. I'm Mippy, I'm the Diablo 4 team lead on Mobalytics, and this is my Death Trap build for Diablo 4 Season 10. While Death Trap has been very strong in previous seasons, it now gets access to a lot of new tools through the Chaos Uniques and Chaos Perks. These are elevating it back into S tier. And even though Aftermath and Lucky Chance to restore energy were nerfed, the new Chaos perk with the Beast Cornered solves that issue plentifully. So make sure to check out the written in-depth guide on mobalytics.gg, linked in the video description, and make sure to favorite it to be notified of any updates. Let's talk about the things you need to play the build to its full extent. First, you need Scoundrel's Leathers and Beastful Boots, else the reset for spamming Death Trap does not work. Death Trap needs to be below 10 seconds cooldown. You need to have 150 energy for preparation to be able to refund 10 seconds off the cooldown. And you need enough energy restoration to get it back up to 150 immediately. The cooldown reduction is provided by 2 tempers on Jewelry, the ultimate cooldown reduction on Beastful Boots, and the Paragon nodes around Spring Loaded. Death Trap's base cooldown is also reduced by having more ranks of it, reaching maximum possible base reduction at 20 ranks. We increase our energy with maximum resource on Beastful Boots and an elixir of resourcefulness too. We gain enough energy restoration through Beastful Boots, Aftermath, this resource temper, and a Beast Cornered. If you have all the requirements fulfilled, you'll be able to spam Death Trap indefinitely. If you don't fulfill the necessary requirements to play the build yet, you can use the mid-game or starter variant of the builds, where you utilize Barrage after every Death Trap cast to spend additional energy to then reduce the cooldown of Death Trap with preparation. So how's the build played? Generally, you want to spam Death Trap and Dash all the time to go really fast. Concealment and Shadow Step are your sources of Unstoppable, while Smoke Grenade is only used for dealing with elites. Dark Shroud is your defensive tool, while also providing you offense through the damage per Dark Shroud Shadow tempers, so cast it as often as you can. There is no downside to using it, as it does not have a casting animation. You also want to activate the new Chaos perk, Crazy Brew, as often as you can, so drink a potion frequently. That's also great for unstable elixirs, and we get many of the potions back anyway through Subo's Share a Drink. When pushing, you want to swap out Dash and Shadow Step for Caltrops and Poison Trap instead to increase your damage. Let's talk about the gear for the speed farming variant of the build. Our most important pieces of gear are Scoundrel's Leathers and Beastful Boots. On Beastful Boots, which you ideally want as a unique Chaos armor on your chest armor, you want maximum resource and ultimate cooldown reduction to be very high and masterworked accordingly. Ideally, you want 2 masterworks and a greater affix on maximum resource to get 51, and a greater affix on ultimate cooldown reduction and 1 masterwork as well. While it is quite unrealistic to get a Beastful Boots as Chaos armor with 2 greater affixes, focus on getting the greater affix on ultimate cooldown reduction first, because you can substitute the maximum resource to reach 150 with an elixir of resourcefulness too. Scoundrel's Leathers makes it so that your trap skills are also considered core skills, which enables you to have core skill synergy for Death Trap all along. On our pants we want Eyes in the Dark. They reduce our trap arm time to around 0.1 seconds, which is very important because we want to keep spamming Death Trap as often as we can, and you can only have 3 active Death Traps out all the time. So the arm time needs to be low enough so that it actually springs before we cast 3 new ones. On Eyes in the Dark, the most important role is the legendary affix, which we want to be as close as we can to 60%. Another Chaos unique that we want is Banishlord's Talisman on our gloves. It gives us access to overpowering and dealing more damage, while also giving us needed attack speed and increased core skill ranks. With Banishlord's Talisman, we would only overpower every second hit, but that is perfectly fine. Our helmet of choice and the only mythic in this build is Air of Perdition. We want to use it because of the increased damage multiplier and the increased core skills. If you do not have Air of Perdition, but happen to have a Harlequin's Crest, you can also equip that. If you have neither of those, then a regular helmet with the Enshrouding aspect for more defense, and maximum resource and cooldown reduction are a good choice as well. For our weapon, we want to use a crossbow with the Apogeic Fura aspect, which increases our ultimate skill damage. On the crossbow itself, we want to temper chance for Death Trap to deal double damage, and damage per Dark Shroud Shadow. The Stats itself are pretty standard with GA on dexterity, maximum life for defense, and critical strike damage to overall increase our damage output. For our amulet, we want to use Tricksters as an aspect. Tricksters gives us access to stun grenade synergies, which will directly benefit our death trap damage. So equipping other stun grenade aspects will increase the damage significantly. Death trap cooldown reduction is an important temper here, and we want to make it as high as we can without masterworking, because we want to focus our masterworks on our damaging passives like Frigid Finesse and Unstable Elixirs. Frigid is really good here because we use the Frostbitten aspects to freeze our enemies instantly. On our ring, tempering death trap cooldown reduction as high as we can is incredibly important. We want to have it very high so we don't need more than 2 masterworks on it to get to the magical 10-second death trap cooldown. On our other ring, we need casting ultimate skills restore primary resource. That is necessary to have enough resource restored to get 150 to have preparation reduce the cooldown of death trap by exactly 10 seconds. For the remaining aspects, we distribute all the stun grenade aspects and also take Frostbitten. For our weapons, we want to use exactly 1 dagger and 1 sword. That is to have optimized attack speed breakpoints. If you're unsure what that is, make sure to check out the attack speed breakpoint sheet link in the description below. On the weapons, we want to have dexterity, maximum life, and critical strike damage, while also tempering chance for death trap to deal double damage to reach exactly over 100%. And on the other weapon, we want to temper lucky hit chance to deal poison damage, just to have an easier way of activating alchemical advantage. To fully cap out our resistances and armor in Torment 4, we need to use Consumables. They are very cheap to craft and also increase your experience gained, so make sure to use them and craft them often. For incense, we want to use Spiral Morning, Song of the Mountain, and Soothing Spices. And for our elixir, we want to use Elixir of Resourcefulness too. For our runes, we want to have Zan Xan to guarantee crit and overpower, and Pogjaw to move very fast. For pit pushing, we would swap Pogjaw to Pogthul and Frostbitten to Vehement Brawler. For our chaos perks, we want to use a Beast Cornered as the unique perk. The increased damage is very nice, but the important part about it is that spending resources drains our life, but also refunds 30% of those resources spent. So that allows us to have an easier time to restore 150 energy to be able to infinitely spam Death Trap. For our other perks, we use Marred Guard to have more defense, Crazy Brew to max out our attack speed, and Enervating Strikes to increase our core skill damage. In our skill tree, we only pick up points into Blade Shift to move it along the path. Then we pick up passive points in Sturdy and Siphoning Strikes to get into the Agility skill area, where we pick up points into Dash with the Methodical Dash upgrade, and Shadow Step with the Methodical Shadow Step upgrade as well. We pick up a lot of damaging passives like Unstable Elixirs, Trick Attacks, Exploits, Malice, and Frigid Finesse, and also Until Dawn to increase our overall damage output. All of these has certain conditions that need to be activated, but most of them are fulfilled by just naturally playing. Dark Shroud gives us a lot of damage reduction, so we invest maximum points into it. We also pick up 3 points into a chemical advantage to further increase our attack speed and lucky hit chance. The chemical advantage part is also procced by Subverting Smoke Grenade or the poison damage temper on one of our weapons. We max out our Death Trap ranks, putting 5 points into it, and pick up both of the upgrades. Death Trap will be getting another 14 ranks through our gear if we maximum Masterwork and Greater Affix them, giving us 19 ranks total. Our key passive of choice is Exposure. Exposure increases our damage that we deal with our trap skills and has a chance to reduce the trap cooldown. The first part is really good for overall content, and the second part with the cooldown reduction is really strong if your gear is not there yet. If you don't have enough cooldown reduction to have Death Trap at 10 seconds or lower, you'll need to use Barrage in between every single Death Trap cast to spend additional energy to get preparation to refund you the necessary cooldown. In our speed farming Paragon, we put the control glyph on our starting board, move into Deadly Ambush as our second board, where we pick up the legendary node, and also put Explosive there. Explosive increases our damage we deal with stun grenades, and while the additive part of Explosive does not work to increase Death Trap's damage, the multiplicative part from the legendary bonus actually does. From Deadly Ambush, we move into No Witnesses, where we pick up the legendary node to increase our damage with ultimate skills, and also pick up the Versatility glyph in the socket. Versatility increases our non-core skill damage, which Death Trap, even though it gets the additional core skill tag from Scoundrel's Leathers, still is considered by this glyph. Then we move into Eldritch Bounty, where we pick up the Ambush glyph on the board to increase our trap skill damage, and the Eldritch Bounty Legendary Note, which increases our shadow damage. And lastly, we have Leyrana's Instinct, where we put in Canny to increase our non-physical damage, and use the Legendary Note on Leyrana's Instinct, where we don't care for the inner side Gorge, but the actual core skill damage increase is very massive. Important notes on the Paragon board are Nimble with attack speed providers on Leyrana's, and also Color with attack speed on No Witnesses. And most importantly, the node Spring Loaded to increase our trap cooldown reduction and also have our traps arm faster. If you want to rehearse the full skill tree and see all the changes in the Paragon, make sure to check out the written guide on mobalytics.gg. For our Mercenaries in the speed farming variant, we use Subo to get access to his Share a Drink passive, which increases the amount of potions that we drop. Subo is also incredibly useful because he shows enemies on the map. For our reinforcement, we want to use Rahir with Bastion to increase our damage reduction and defense. Keep in mind that Death Trap is not a leveling build. You cannot really level with this build because it requires uniques such as Scoundrel's Leathers, Eyes in the Dark, and Beastful Boots. If you don't have these yet, it is recommended to pick one of the leveling guides that we have on Mobalytics. Ideally, Dance of Knives, as that provides a very easy leveling path throughout all tournament tiers. Alright blasters, that's it for this video. I hope you enjoyed the Death Trap guide and are looking forward to playing it in Season 10. I certainly do, and the season starts on Tuesday, and I'll be streaming the start live on twitch.tv/Mippy, and I'll be really happy if you guys tuned in. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and see you there.